Okay, back at you with another video here for the NBA main site here on Wednesday. We got a pretty nice slate here today, so let's not waste any time. First, real quick, let's see how we did last night. So last night I only did tournaments. I did cash. It was a pretty weird night. So I did predict the Spurs blowout of the Suns, so that was good. But then the Raptors, without Kawhi, blew out the Clippers, so that was pretty surprising. And then Lillard and Harden both scored a lot of real-life points, but not a lot of fantasy points. Lillard, 34 real-life points, 40 fantasy points. Harden got 29 real-life points and 39 fantasy points. So both of them were really good in the scoring department, but nothing else really. So this is my final lineup. Lillard, Harden, Mo Harkless, Rashawn Holmes, Jakob Poeltl, D'Anthony Melton, Ibaka, Pascal Siakam. So Lillard and Harden, I kind of hinted that I did like playing them together as two of my spend-ups. Holmes and Poeltl, I said I really liked those cheap plays, and I thought the game would blow out. It did. Holmes, actually, they left DeAndre Ayton in there for a long time, even when the game was pretty much already over. So Holmes didn't see as many minutes. That was a little frustrating. Poeltl, he was pretty good for his price. D'Anthony Melton, I kind of locked him in once Elie Okobo was assigned to the G League. There just wasn't a whole lot of available guards for Phoenix, so Melton was just too cheap there. And then Ibaka and Siakam, I pivoted to once Kawhi Leonard was out. Ibaka, Siakam, Van Fleet, and Lowry were all great plays. I only had 2 available spots left, though, for the last game, so I just pivoted to Ibaka and Siakam. And then Mo Harkless was just the last filler in my lineup. I needed a cheap guy, so he was okay there. So yeah, like I said, it was a strange night, but back on the winning track. So let's see if we can keep it going here tonight. And we got a pretty big, nice slate here. So let's get into it. So Westbrook, 10.9. The matchup here is ideal against the Pelicans. Pelicans, very fast pace, up and down, not a whole lot of defense. So Westbrook, 10.9, I think certainly in play for a star you want to pay up for. Let's see, the over-under in this game is 234, which is pretty high because OKC is actually a pretty good defensive team, but yeah, if Vegas is right with this, 235, you definitely want exposure to this game. So Steph Curry at 9.8, I think he's priced about right. He definitely, he has upside still. He has 60-point upside when he's knocking down those threes. So I think he's okay at 9.8. I think he's priced about right. So Ben Simmons, someone definitely considering as well because Jimmy Butler is doubtful. So that boosts Ben Simmons as well as Joel Embiid. A pretty good matchup against Brooklyn. Only concern is, can Brooklyn keep it close? There definitely is a little blowout risk there. But if Brooklyn keeps it close, I think Ben Simmons and Embiid can have monster games. Let's see, so Kyrie, so we got Gordon Hayward is out, and Al Horford is out, and Baines is going to be on a minutes limit. So Kyrie, 8.5. I love targeting players against Washington, so I think he's pretty fair play here at 8.5K. Drew Holiday, under 8K, definitely enticing here. And we got Mirotic is out, so I am definitely considering Drew Holiday as kind of a mid-tier guard that I'm looking at. Same thing here with De'Aaron Fox. They don't seem to want to raise his price, and this guy has huge upside, especially against Minnesota too. Jeff Teague, Derrick Rose defense, I'm not afraid of. So De'Aaron Fox, if the game's close, he's going to play 30-plus minutes, so I do really like him at 7.3. So Lowry and Van Fleet, I would have a lot of interest in if Kawhi Leonard's out again. I'd probably lock in Van Fleet and one of either Ibaka and Siakam, and then probably Lowry too, because with Kawhi out of there, there's just a whole lot of usage to go around. So going to have to kind of wait and see for Kawhi news. I do expect Kawhi to play, but if he's out again, a lot of these secondary pieces like Van Fleet, Siakam, Ibaka, and even Lowry would be great plays. Let's see. So Trae Young, it's just I can't go there on the slate. He hasn't flashed upside at all recently. Sure, He does have it in him, but he just hasn't looked that good. Even with Jeremy Lin out, I just don't think I can go there today. Let's see. So Moutier, with Trey Burke out, he got limited to 19 minutes. The Knicks are just, I don't want to mess with them on this big of a slate, so I wouldn't try to, it's just too frustrating trying to predict the Knicks minutes. Let's see here. So JJ Barea, with Dennis Smith Jr. out, I thought he would see more minutes, but they're still limiting him to like 15 to 18 minutes. There's a couple times where he will, push for close to 30 minutes, but it's too hard to predict right now. They're not giving him the minutes, so I think he still has upside. And maybe there's a chance he does push for 25 plus minutes, but I don't think I can risk it. So Jalen Brunson at 3.8, he's the one that's been getting some pretty secure minutes here, 25, 30, and 32 with Dennis Smith Jr. out of the lineup. DSJ's out again. The matchup's ideal, but I'm a little torn. Like, be careful. He's been shooting the ball amazing. 5 of 9, 7 of 9, 7 of 9. So don't expect him to shoot that well. The price is good. The matchup's good. So I'm a little torn. I think he'll be pretty popular today at 3.8K. So Brunson, I think he's okay. But another cheap guy I kind of like here is Tim Frazier. So I would have interest in him if E'Twaun Moore's out. If E'Twaun Moore's in, I think there's probably better plays. But if E'Twaun Moore's out, there's just more minutes security. 34 and 32 each of the last 2 games. So I think Frazier, I would definitely have interest in if E'Twaun Moore is out again. And then another last guy I'll talk about here is Shelvin Mack. So Mike Conley questionable. If he gets ruled out, I think Mack will end up starting. So he would probably be a lock and load value play if Mike Conley does get ruled out. Okay, let's move on to shooting guard. So Jimmy Butler, they said he's questionable, but yeah, the list is doubtful, so I don't expect Jimmy Butler to play. Let's see. D'Angelo Russell, he always has upside, but he's just too inconsistent for me on this big of a slate. Luka Doncic, I kind of have the same analysis every time. He's safe. He's going to get you 30 to 35 fantasy points, but he doesn't really flash the upside. Now, this matchup is ideal, and DSJ again is out. So this could be the game where he does have 50 fantasy point upside. We just haven't seen it yet this season. But if Atlanta keeps it close, I think Doncic, this could be a big game for him. So I'm considering him at 7.3. Let's see here, these cheap guys. So Buddy Hield and Bogdanovic, again, I kind of have the same analysis every time. They're pretty safe as well. Hield at 5.8 is not going to kill you, and Bogdanovic at 5.7 is not going to kill you either. They do have upside at times too, so I both think they're decent plays. They're priced about right though. So Kelly Oubre, I don't want to play these Washington secondary pieces, but if Otto Porter's out, you have to consider these guys like Oubre, Markieff Morris, and Jeff Green. I think you can consider him, but let's see what it says about Otto Porter. Where's Otto Porter? Hold on. Yeah, officially listed as questionable, so we're going to have to kind of wait for news on that, but I don't think I'll go there, but the minutes will be secure for some of those guys. They're just, Washington secondary pieces are so inconsistent. Let's see. As far as these really cheap guys, not a whole. I mean, Dotson, but can you trust any of these Knicks? I don't think so. They just run a deep rotation. David Nwaba, questionable. If he ends up being back, that's just gonna be a bigger rotation even more for the Cavs. So Cleveland, they had, in the last few weeks, have run a pretty tight rotation, but the last couple of games they've actually run a pretty deep rotation. So it's going to be Nance, Sexton, Burks, Clarkson, C.D. Osman, Rodney Hood, Nwaba if he plays, Blossom game, Dellavedova cracked the rotation, Jalen Jones has been in the rotation, and then Fry and Zizic will probably crack the rotation with Tristan Thompson out. So that's a pretty big rotation. Again, I liked these guys when it was like an 8-man rotation, but it's going to be like 10 or 11 guys today. So besides Larry Nance, not a whole lot to like on the Cleveland side. I mean, probably the next guy I would have interest in is CD at 4.3, but yeah, they're not the great value plays like they were a couple weeks ago. Okay, let's move on to small forward. So Giannis at 11-1. He always has upside, and I think he's a pretty decent play here, but I'm just leaning towards, I just think there's better spend ups today than Giannis. I think he's okay at 11-1, but again, there's just, Westbrook, Drew Holiday. There's just, in my opinion, better spend ups. Kevin Durant at 9.6. I think he's okay. Again, I just think there's better spend ups as well. If Kawhi plays, that downgrades Durant because Kawhi's a pretty good defender. Paul George at 9K. So I just always cross him off the list when Westbrook's playing, but this is the first night I'm actually considering playing Paul George. He's been playing out of his mind here. The matchup against the Pelicans is ideal. And yeah, even with Westbrook back, Paul George is, he's producing basically every night. There's a few nights here where there were blowouts where he kind of got limited, but he's basically getting you like a floor of 40 fantasy points every night. So at 9K, I'll definitely take that. He's a guy that always has steal upside too. It seems he always gets a couple steals every game. So Paul George, definitely considering him today. Let's see. So these Boston guys, so Gordon Hayward, like I said, is out. Al Horford is out as well. Then Baines will be on a minutes limit. So you could look at guys like Marcus Morris, Jason Tatum. You could look to Jaylen Brown, maybe Daniel Tice. I'm going to kind of wait for a starting lineup, but you definitely, I think, like a Celtic or two could be viable here, especially because the matchup is pretty ideal against Washington. So Justice Winslow, he's been playing out of his mind here. 43, 46, and 43 fantasy points the last 3 games. He's playing all the minutes he can handle as well. I'm a little torn. I don't think I want to chase it. The matchup against Utah is pretty bad here, but he's been playing pretty good, so I think you can consider him at 4.9. JaMychal Green, a guy I kind of like playing, 4.6, but it's just the Grizzlies' rotation is so... It's just a weird rotation. Sometimes he'll get limited to like 19 minutes. Other times he'll play close to 30. So it's a little inconsistent rotation. I think he has upside, though, still at 4.6. Kevin Knox at 4.5. I saw a tweet earlier that they hinted at he could start at small forward instead of Mario Hezonja. So I don't think he's going to put up 50 fantasy points, but at 4.5K, I think he has upside. But the thing is, playing with the starters, he's going to have a lower usage, along with guys like Hardaway, who just shoots the ball a ton, and ENES KANTER, who's pretty productive. So Knox, pretty fair. And if he gets inserted in the starting lineup, I think his minutes will be pretty secure. So I do like him at 4.5K. The only concern would be, again, playing the starting lineup, his usage would probably go down a bit because of playing alongside Hardaway and KANTER. Let's see. As far as these cheap guys, one guy I did want to bring up. Let's see. Where is Luke Kennard here? Okay, so I think he'll be pretty popular today. A lot of these Pistons guys are still out again. Bullock, Ish Smith, but Stanley's questionable. So we're going to have to kind of wait for Stanley news. If he's out again, I think you could look to Kennard. But the thing that concerns me is this guy has always, and throughout his career, he's been a low usage guy, even when he gets minutes. So I don't think we want to chase this 42 fantasy point game. He scored 28 real life points, shot the ball really well. Another thing that concerns me is he basically has to score to get fantasy value. Like 8 rebounds, that's kind of an outlier for Luke Kennard. So I'm a little undecided. I think it'll be pretty popular at 3.5K, but I definitely think there's a chance that he busts today. Okay, let's move on to power forward. So Anthony Davis at the top here at 11-2. I'm definitely considering, but I do respect the defense a lot of Steven Adams. So Anthony Davis is okay. And same thing with like Randall. I don't know how OKC is going to match up if they're going to put Steven Adams with Anthony Davis or Randall. I'd assume they put him on Anthony Davis, but you never know. So if Steven Adams guards Anthony Davis, Randall, even again, the matchup's not the best. I'm probably locking, whenever Mirotic is out, I just lock and load Randall. So 7.4K for Julius Randle. Just too cheap. He's going to play all the minutes he can handle, so I really like Randall. Anthony Davis, again, I think he's okay. But I think, I'd rather pay up for like Westbrook or other guys. But AD 11.2 is okay. I think I prefer the discount on Randall here at 7.4. Let's see. So John Collins, he's also been playing unreal here the last few games. 37, 43, 45, 57 fantasy points. And, Dallas, not the best matchup, not the worst matchup. I think he's priced about right. I think he still does have upside at 7.8, but I think he's pretty fair. Not the best play in the world, not the worst play in the world. Sabonis, I love playing him, but he's just not seeing enough minutes right now. And Oladipo could be back too, so I don't think he can go there. Draymond, this is just a price thing at 6.6. It's just too cheap for Draymond Green. So, I don't know if he's going to be limited again today, but 6.6K is just too cheap. If he's going to play 30 minutes again at 6.6K, I really like that play for Draymond Green. So, and I think maybe they'll boost his minutes a bit here up to like 32 or 33. Again, it's just a pricing thing with Draymond Green, so it's just way too cheap for Draymond. So I'm definitely considering playing him today. Siakam and Ibaka, I think they're okay if Kawhi plays, but they're great plays if Kawhi's out. These guys, their usage will go up big time. So I think they're okay if Kawhi plays, but I definitely, if he's out, I think you want to play one of those two, and then maybe Lowry or Van Fleet. So Bam Adebayo at 6.1. Whiteside's out again. Utah plays pretty big, so Bam should play all the minutes he can handle if he can stay out of foul trouble. The matchup might scare off some people, but again, if he stays out of foul trouble, he's going to be asked to play big minutes. So I do like Bam at 6.1. Larry Nance is going to be the chalk here at 5.7 with Tristan Thompson out. I do want to wait though for the starting lineup because Nance is way more productive when he's a center. If Cleveland announces that they're going to start like Ante Zizic or Channing Frye at the center, then Nance, you could downgrade a bit. But again, he's going to be probably the ultimate chalk today. But I do want to wait for the starting lineup. If he gets ruled the starting center, then I think I'll just lock and load Larry Nance. The matchup against KANTER is ideal. So I do want to wait for the starting lineup for Larry Nance. Let's see. Marvin Bagley, a little underpriced here at 4.8. He hasn't, since he's come back from injury, hasn't really flashed that upside, but he has it in him. He has 40, 45 point upside. So 4.8K is a little too cheap, so I do like Bagley today. Daniel Tice kind of burned me. I didn't play him against Chicago, put up 54 fantasy points, and I played him against the Pelicans, got in foul trouble, put up 14 fantasy points. I kind of rode with Robert Williams. So Horford's out again, and Baines will be limited. So I think you could look his way. Washington is one of the worst rebounding teams in the league, but I don't know. I don't know if I can do it today. Let's see. Dedmon, his minutes are kind of always up and down, but he does have upside at this price of 4.4K. Taj and Saric are they kind of switch off playing big minutes and having good games. They're both priced pretty fairly, so if you want to take a shot on one of those guys, I wouldn't mind it. Jeremy Grant at 4.1K even. Just seems a little too cheap, especially for this up and down matchup. He should play 30 plus minutes, so I think he's okay here at 4.1. And then you could look into like Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala with Jimmy Butler out of there. I think both those guys are okay. I just think they're probably are better value plays, but Chandler, Muscala, I think you can definitely consider those guys. All right, let's move on to center. And again, my favorite position to target, so I definitely think it's going to be a two-center lineup approach for me once again. So Embiid, this is the get-right spot for him against Brooklyn. I love targeting centers against Brooklyn. His price, it did go up to 10.5, even though he kind of had an off game against Detroit. But with Jimmy Butler out of there, that's a whole lot of usage to go around. So him and Ben Simmons, a pretty good place here. So I'm definitely considering Embiid. today at 10.5. Towns, I think will be pretty low on because I think the flocks will go to Embiid. And then there's a couple of cheaper centers that I do like. So Towns, I think will be pretty low on, but Willie Cauley-Stein, not the best defender. So I think he still has upside here at 10K. So Andre Drummond, you know I don't like playing this guy, but this is the time where I'm going to consider him. He's under 9K and he's got a matchup against the Hornets. I love targeting centers against the Hornets as well. And in their last game earlier this year, Drummond in 37 minutes put up 23 points, 22 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks against Charlotte. So this is, he's a price under 9K, and he should have his way with Cody Zeller or Frank Kaminsky, whoever they try to put on him. So Andre Drummond, I do really like that play today at 8.7. So Gobert, a guy I haven't really liked playing, this season, but this guy is flashing pretty good upside here, and Whiteside is out. Bam Adebayo, not the best defender, so I think Gobert at 7.4, one of the better plays of the night for sure. So against Houston, he got ejected. Then against OKC, he got in foul trouble. Still, in 21 minutes, put up 35 fantasy points. So this guy's playing pretty good here. And if the game stays close, he's going to play 35 or so minutes. So Rudy Gobert, for the first time, I'm definitely considering playing him today. Let's see. Miles Turner, I think he's priced about right. He definitely still has upside here. I love targeting centers against Milwaukee too. Brook Lopez, not the best defender. So Miles Turner, 7.2. If Oladipo's out again, I think you can look his way. Nurkic, I always love playing Nurkic, but the matchup against Marc Gasol, I don't like targeting guys against Memphis, especially on a big slate. Enes Kanter, so this is like a GPP play for sure. I can't do it because I'm a one lineup guy, but if you're making multiple lineups, I would definitely recommend getting a lineup in there with Enes Kanter. The minutes have kind of been limited, but this guy has huge upside anytime he takes the court. So Tristan Thompson out of there as well. So Enes Kanter, I think he does have huge upside. I don't think I can trust it because I'm a one lineup guy. Let's see. Steven Adams, now I'm looking at it, the price of 6.4 is pretty fair. It's just a little too cheap for Steven Adams, so I think he's pretty fair for cash games. Willie Cauley-Stein, if he can stay out of foul trouble. Karl-Anthony Towns, not the best defender. So Willie Cauley-Stein, 5.9. I think that's also a pretty fair price. Same analysis here for Jarrett Allen if he can stay out of foul trouble against Embiid. He's going to be asked to play some pretty big minutes, so I think he has upside at 5.8. Let's see. As far as the cheap centers, Cody Zeller you could look to for cash games. He doesn't really have that huge upside, but again, Detroit plays big, so they're going to need Cody Zeller to play 30-plus minutes. And then, I think that's about it. So I definitely think a lot of the bigs today are good spend-ups. You got Embiid, you got Cat, you got Drummond, who I really like. You got Rudy Gobert, who I really like. And then some of these power forwards like Randall, Draymond Green, Larry Nance. There's a lot. I think I'm definitely considering paying up for a lot of these bigs and then going cheaper in the guard position. So I think that's kind of what I'm leaning at right now. So I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. If you have been enjoying the content, please like this video, subscribe. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section down below. It's also important to follow me on Twitter. I will give my thoughts as more injury news and stuff like that comes out. So I'll give my thoughts there. And I'll be back tomorrow for a slate on Thursday. So I will see you guys then.